Thanks, Larry, for the introduction. I really wanted to show this trailer for this documentary. It came out a couple of years ago, and I'm probably going to move around a lot, as I usually do. It's called The Candy Shop, and the reason why I decided to open up with this trailer for this documentary is because it really puts the whole aspect of human trafficking, specifically sex trafficking, from perspective of from this business perspective, which obviously was, if you saw, were able to watch the trailer, you saw that they're comparing basically human or sex trafficking with the candy shop, where people become a product, and how, in this case, if you actually can watch that documentary, which you can actually watch it online, I'll give you the links if you want to. It really shows how women are, in this case, little girls. This is specifically about children, how they're turned into a commodity, a product. Okay? So it is something that I really wanted to emphasize. I even got the definition for a business, and it clearly states that it's an enterprise or a business. It's something that's it's an activity which becomes a livelihood for some people. It's their livelihood, and that's exactly what's happening today. I'm glad that you heard from people. You have from Ramsey, you have from both FBI agents, how people are making money out of this. And basically, this is what I want to talk to you guys about. I want to tell you guys that it is an industry. It's a business. Sex trafficking has become a business, and not only any kind of business, it's become a very lucrative business. Okay? And the reason why it's a lucrative business is because people are buying it. And that's what I want to focus on today. I really want to make that link between sex trafficking and the sex industry, or the commercial sex industry. Honestly, it's not a popular message. It isn't. All right? I get all kinds of negative feedback from it because it hits everybody. Because what we're going to realize is that as a society, we are buying a lot of sex. The more sex we buy, the greater the chances that women and children are going to get trafficked into this industry. Okay? So I'm going to have a lot of statistics out here. There's a lot of stats I'm going to show you guys. And I really want you guys to think about this problem from a business perspective. Really from a business perspective. If you're trying to make money, what would you do? This is exactly what's happening. People are wanting to make money. They realize it's very lucrative to sell women, and I'm going to do it. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm going to focus on the problem primarily. I'm not going to give you guys any really solutions, although I probably should. But I'm going to, we can wait for that till the question and answer session when we're all going to answer some questions. But I might give you a little hint of what can we do. Obviously the most common sense one is let's stop buying sex, but how can that happen? All right? So the first thing I want to go is there's this awesome quote that I really like, and it says, "The worst sin towards our fellow creature is not to hate them, but to be indifferent to them." That's the essence of humanity. The quote really means a lot to me because we live in a society, and the saddest thing to say is that it is true that we live in a society where we, at least I think about myself, we usually think of ourselves first. We really, I'm not saying we don't care about other people, but as a whole, as society, we look out for ourselves. When people say, you got to take care of number one. Who's number one? We are number one, right? So it is a society that it's kind of built through that, so it's really hard to think about other people. And so it's very easy to be indifferent. I can be honest, completely honest to you, and tell you that prior to me getting involved with human trafficking, when I would hear the term prostitution, I would say, oh, there's these women, they just made a really bad choice. When they were young, or it doesn't matter, they made a bad choice, they're getting what they deserve. That's how I used to see prostitution. And I'm glad you guys said it. It was women in prostitution. Some might have chosen to be in it, but at one point they were probably evicted. The way that we should see prostitution is that women are being prostituted by somebody else, and this other person's making money out of it. And so that's kind of where I really want you guys to start kind of thinking. Let's think about this sex industry as a facilitator of sex trafficking and how they kind of work together. They have this synergistic effect. They work together. They're mutual. They have a mutualistic effect where they feed off each other. All right. So let's start first with first here. Sex and money. That's the title for the presentation. There's another documentary it's called Sex and Money, and I really like how they. If you guys have the time to watch documentaries, you this is another good one to watch. It really puts perspective into how we in the United States, this is specifically dealing with the United States, how there is a huge relation between the money that we make, how we spend it, and how sex is being bought. But that's kind of what I want to focus on. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about sex. I know it's, people think, well, let's talk about sex, let's talk about money. But in another way, like how these things actually work in a nefarious way, in a really evil way. So we'll talk about these. So trafficking. So what is sex trafficking? Basically, everybody's defined what sex trafficking is. It's important to realize, and it was also mentioned, that any person under the age of 18, in other words, a minor, if they're involved in any kind of commercial sex act, in other words, where somebody's paying them for any kind of sexual service, they're considered a trafficking victim. This is according to the United States Department of Justice. So, a couple of stats, just to emphasize that there is a problem. I'm not, like Dr. Smith said, I'm a scientist. I'm getting my PhD in microbiology. It has really nothing to do with human trafficking. But there is something in common. This is a parallel I can make. I studied diseases, and human trafficking, in my eyes, is a disease. It's not a disease that affects our physical body, but it's affecting our society. And if we don't do something about it, it will destroy our society. We have to. I had the opportunity to go to Southeast Asia last year, and I was in Thailand, I was in Cambodia, and I had the opportunity to go into all these different places. Went into some of these sex clubs. And what you saw was not only, like what struck me, what really impacted me was not so much the amount of sex that's being sold out there. Not that it was still available to anybody that wanted to buy it, but the complete normalcy in society, everybody accepted it, like it was completely okay. You could have I would see a 50 or 60-year-old man walking by hand with a 10 or 12-year-old, and everybody would be completely okay with that, knowing that this guy was probably going to have sex with his child. And that is what I do not want for the United States. That's something that I do not want to see happening here in the United States, where it's completely okay in society to do that, because we tend to look the other way and not see that there's a problem. That's what I do. I refuse to say, you know what, I'm not going to do anything about it. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to say, you might be buying sex, but I want to do that. I'm completely okay with hurting people's feelings when it refers to a child, specifically. But even women. Who cares if they made a bad choice? Statistics show us that the average entry of women into prostitution in the United States is the age of 14. So when you're 14 years old, can you really make a conscious decision of, yeah, I want to sell my body for sex and get money in return for that? There's a lot of debates about that. I don't think so. I don't think you can expect a 14-year-old to make a conscious decision about that. Plus, it's most likely, like you guys pointed out very specifically, these women are being coerced into it or forced into these situations. Okay? So from a scientific perspective, what I like to do is first we need to define a problem. What is the problem? And what we're talking about here is human trafficking. Is it a problem? It is. Is it a good business? It is. The United States Department of State has estimated that in the last 10 years, 20 million women and children have been trafficked into the sex industry. Is that a problem? What do you guys think? The answer is yes, it is a problem. All right, it is a problem. Are people making money out of it? Yes. Human trafficking as a whole, $32 billion industry. Now, numbers are going to vary depending on where you go. So I try to take some of the more conservative numbers, which is about 32 billion. Of those, they estimate that probably about 13 billion are specifically sex-related. The rest is going to be labor trafficking. So it is a problem. Here, this is for United States statistic. This is from the Department of Justice. Half of the people trafficked into the United States are children. Half of these people are children. What are they doing with the children? They can go into the labor force. They can go into the sex trafficking business. Some of the things that we see a lot, or have seen a lot, is that more and more children are being sold into the sex industry. Men want to have sex with younger women. Why? It's more appealing. There's less diseases. With the whole epidemic of HIV and other STDs, men try to have sex with women that are younger so they won't get these diseases. We see this in Africa, we see this in Southeast Asia, and we see it here in the United States. So it is a problem. It is a problem. The problem is sex trafficking. It is a big issue.